Hi, I'm Julie. Welcome back to my channel, and as you can see, we're in my basement. I have a little project that I want to work on. This is something I've been wanting to do for a really long time, but was never really brave enough to tackle. I don't know why, but I'm tackling it today. This is an old ice chest. I'm not sure of the date. I think there's a plaque on it somewhere. Yeah, there's a plaque on it here. It says White Mountain, the Maine Manufacturing Company. Maine Manufacturing Company or something. I'm not sure what all the rest of it says, but it's on there and it's been painted over. I don't have any paint thinner. I don't know what would take that off, or if I did put anything on there to take that off, if it would just take everything off. So I'm not going to do anything with that today. Could just be faded too. This has always been outside for as long as we've had it. It was in our camp. We had a camp when our boys were really little, and while they were growing up, and then sold it once they left home. This we took with us. Now we have it here. So it usually sits out on the porch, but Joe and I brought it down into the basement so that I could make it over a little bit, paint it, clean it up. We'll see how that goes. I've never done this before, so I'm not sure how this is going to work. But I thought I'd bring you along with me. I really want to put this back out on the porch. He wants a total makeover. He dreams big and has a lot of faith, apparently. So I'm going to do what I can to at least make the outside look good if I can't do the inside. I should show you the inside. This is the inside. It's pretty rusty. I mean, I could probably paint in there, maybe sand it down a little bit and paint, at least make that look halfway decent. He'd like to reuse it, is why he would like to redo it. I mean, the walls and everything are all there. I'm not sure. That must be a drain pipe for ice. You see that pipe back there? I'm assuming that's a drain pipe for ice. You put ice in here and then it drains down through without going down to that bottom level, I'm guessing. I don't know if that's a piece of linoleum, old piece of linoleum in here. Yep, it's just an old piece of linoleum somebody stuck in there. So I'll pull that out and maybe sand all of this down and try to get this looking a little bit better than it is right now. But right now, this is what you're seeing. And these are just some, whatever, you can see one of them sideways from where we carried it. I'll get those out, clean those up as well, and see what we can do with this. The first thing that I want to do is just give it a good sanding on the top, on the sides, on the doors, and the doors have hinges and hardware. I'm going to attempt to take those off. I'm just not sure how well they're going to come off or how well they're going to go back on. That's just a fear of mine. I don't want to ruin anything. So we'll just try one and go from there when the time comes. For right now, I'm just going to sand the top a little bit and the sides and just try to get this chippy paint off. So I am going to be wearing a mask and I am going to be wearing earplugs. So let's just get started with this. To sand this piece, I am using 100 grit sandpaper. I didn't want to use anything more than that because I was afraid it would really scratch up the metal and that would show up when I painted it. So I used something kind of in between. Anything lighter than that, I don't think it would have removed any of the paint. Whenever you're sanding an older piece similar to this or any project that you're doing that you're sanding something old, always, always, always wear a mask. I really should have had a better mask, but this is all I had on hand. But it's so important that you don't breathe in any of those particles. I have no idea how long ago this piece was last painted. As far as what I'm seeing, the paint that's on it is the original, because underneath it's just the metal. So I'm not even sure if this had lead in it. I did not test it, and that would have been advisable. Well, it seems to be sanding pretty well. I just want to get all the chippiness off and, create a surface that I can paint on. And you can see it's getting right down to the bare metal in some places. But I think it's working, so I'm going to keep going. I think I'm going to remove the doors. Try removing those because they'll be easier to sand, all around them, and the doors themselves. And maybe, a little bit of the hardware. I don't know. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants as usual. These screws are definitely coming out a whole lot better than I thought. I really thought that they would be kind of stuck in there with paint. But like I said, I think that this is the original paint on here. It's the original coat. So just these are coming out pretty easy. At this point, I'm really hoping they go back in just as easy as they came out. I'm always afraid of making the holes a little larger or kind of ruining the threads or, those kind of things when I'm taking screws in and out. So I try to do it as quickly and as little as possible and direct as possible. I just want to take them out and get them put back in as needed because I'm just never sure. And all of these screws are exactly the same screws on the whole piece. So that was a blessing because I always hate having to separate everything and try to remember which ones go where or label, because you do want to label or separate if these are different screws. But they weren't, and that is a true blessing for me. Once I removed all the hinges, you would not believe the amount of dirt that was in behind them, kind of nestled in. There was a few nests of little bugs and things in there too. It was disgusting. I don't think I showed that part, but got it all out. I'll clean and take care of those later. But right now, what I want to do is where I've sanded, I'm getting a lot of dust everywhere. So I'm constantly vacuuming behind me. You don't always see it, but I'm constantly vacuuming behind me. And I do have an air purifier thing going in the background. I don't know, sometimes it's more evident than other times, but I did do that because I just kind of didn't want all of that in the air that I was breathing. The bottom of this icebox is quite rusted. I know that I'm not going to get all of this rust off, but my goal is to just smooth it out as much as I can so that I can have a nice smooth surface to paint on. There's a few places where it's rusted through, but there seems to be another layer in there. So I'm just going to clean it up, get it looking as good as I possibly can, and just go from there. Now I need to get all of the hardware off of these doors. And you can see, can you see all that dirt in there? Now that was behind all of these hinges. It was unbelievable. There was little clumps of piles of hard dirt nestled in there with bugs in it. And it was disgusting, really. So all of the dirt and everything was kind of going in behind here over years and years of having this. Because when it was in our camp, it was on a screen porch. And then when we had it at our farmhouse, it was also on a porch, and now it is on our porch. So it's always been pretty much outside, but it's held up quite well. You can see as I take this hinge off all the dirt that's in behind it. Yeah, that was mild actually. That was one of the lesser dirty ones. It's unbelievable how that has piled up over the years. But it's coming out now. I'm going to get these all cleaned up and just redone. It's going to look great when it's finished, and I cannot wait. I'm just as anxious as you guys are going through this whole thing. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'm always putting little sneak peeks of what I'm doing on there. So go follow me on Instagram, and you usually get a few behind the scenes clips here and there. I have to admit, there is a certain part of me that did not want to redo this because I was worried about ruining the authenticity of the piece. But then Joe and I had talked about it, and we both agreed it's not a piece we're going to sell. It doesn't matter what the value, the worth of it is monetarily, because for us, the value of this piece goes far beyond money. It's something that we love and something that we enjoy. We love old things. We love old ways. And, you know, I look at this piece and I think of the past life that it had, the tales that it could tell, the hands that opened these doors, the love that went into every part of this at one time. You know, it had a past life. And that's the same with a lot of the pieces that we have in our home. It's just something that is near and dear to my heart and to Joe's heart. We both feel very blessed to be the current caretakers of the pieces that we have until the next caretaker comes along. And hopefully they'll love these pieces as much as we do. Now that that part is all sanded, I'm going to just take a cloth and wash over it, just clean it really good. And I'm just using my Thieves household cleaner and a little bit of warm water, a rag, and I'm just cleaning over it just to get all the yuck off of everything and the film and sanding and all that stuff.
Looks a lot better.
Sanded it, the doors and the whole outside of this. I need to rinse this cloth off. Well, as you can see, these legs are in rough shape. The bolt that goes to that one leg is very corroded. I ended up sanding it quite a bit, lightly in between the threads, and put that back in. It took a lot to get it in there, but I did get it in. And you wait and see what these legs look like when we're finished. They become my favorite part of this whole thing. I love them. They look so much better. As with most any project similar to this, the prep and the constant cleanup is probably the hardest part. I'm constantly going behind myself, always cleaning any dust, any corrosion, rust, any of that stuff. And I'm always wearing my mask. And like I said, I do have an air purifier going in the background. So I don't particularly like this part of the job because I really want to see the end result. And I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. I just want to see it done. But with any job, the work has to be put in order to see the end result. Okay, so I must look right. I'm going to start spray painting the feet. one foot, I don't know if you noticed or not, is the bolt came out, and we can't get any of the other bolts out of this. That one just happened to fall out, but the other ones, I don't have any WD-40, but I think it's going to take that to get them out. But I told Joe I don't want to get them out because they're into the wood, and I'm afraid if I take them out, they may not go back in as well as they are currently. And I don't want to ruin the stability of the feet. So I'm going to paint the feet right now, and kind of, I think then I'll go to the inside and spray paint that before I do the outside. I am using a Rust-Oleum paint. You see this? It's a satin finish, and it's a rust preventative. It's fast drying, and it is for metal. So, and it's in kind of like an antique white, which I'm kind of trying to stay in keeping with what is on there currently. And then we'll work on the hardware after I get this part painted. I have the ice chest completely painted. First coat, second coat, as well as the doors and all the hardware. And Joe and I just brought it upstairs. I would have filmed that, but it would have been dangerous. We have it up here on the porch. So I just need to put the doors back on. So that's where I'm at right now. But I want to show you the inside because I did paint the trays, grills, the shelves things. Let me show you those. Racks, Joe said. I could not for the life of me think of the names of those, but I painted those. So they look a lot better than the rusty color. And look how good that looks. I mean, it's so much better. I'll put a before on here so you can see what the inside looked like before. Even that drain pipe, look how good that looks. And the feet, remember the feet? Look at them. They look amazing. So this looks really, really good. I have all the hardware here on a tray. I'm going to get all of that onto everything. Okay, Joe just showed me a little mistake that I made. So, if you do this and you put the, do all your hardware and paint it and everything, make sure you do the tips of your, the flat side of your screws that shows, because I did not. So my screws have the old paint on them, which is not a big deal because I'm going to touch them up. But just a heads up, if you do a project like this, might be a good idea to think about doing that part. I'm really excited about getting this on, aren't you?
You're not using your needle.
I know, I keep moving, scrunching up ahead of it. I've got to get on it. My knees are sore, and my butt is sore. And that rug is hard on the knees.
That must be hard on the...
All right, this piece is the little tag plate that goes on there.
Manufacturer's plate.
Yeah, manufacturer's tape. Plate, sorry. Can you see this? That is what's on here. I don't know how to get this paint off of here without ruining what's underneath. I mean, I don't know if there's paint on what's underneath of here, but, or if it's just sheet metal or aluminum or whatever this plate is made of. You can see on the back. But for right now, this is what it's going to be. Now this doesn't exactly match the color of the paint because I did not paint it on top of what was already painted on there. So it's going to show age. It's going to look a little yellowed from the rest of the paint that I put on there. If any of you have any suggestions on how to get that off of there, I mean, I could put it in paint thinner probably, but I don't know. The problem is I just don't know if there's paint on it, you know, a color to it or something. So that's what's bothering me. I want to keep it authentic, but okay. So that's on there. Now I'm going to get these little latches on here. Look at it. Doesn't that look great? I told Joe my favorite part of the legs. I love the legs because they were so rusty before, and look how good they look. Joe and I are both very, very happy with this piece. It did take a lot of work, a lot of sanding, a lot of elbow grease, but it was all totally worth it. Well, Joe wants to look into getting an ice tray made, so we're probably going to talk to some of our Amish friends about that. There is an Amish family that does sheet metal and metalworking stuff, so we might be able to get that done. I don't know, but I'll keep you posted if we do. We are definitely going to enjoy this. I mean, just looking at it, it's just very, very nice. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you like these kinds of videos, remakes, redos, I can do them every so often. Let me know in the comments below. And until next time.